Hi friends, Miss Kristi here, and I am so excited to be together again cooking in the kitchen. Today we are learning how to make a peanut butter cup smoothie. Chocolate and peanut butter are a classic flavor combination, and when we pop a few ingredients in our blender, we end up with a smoothie that tastes just like a peanut butter cup. We're gonna have fun making this together today, and I'm so glad you're here. Now, the first step to cooking and working in the kitchen is to wash our hands. While I wash my hands with soap and warm water for at least 20 seconds, let's go over the ingredients and supplies that you'll need to gather to cook along today. The ingredients you need are 1/4 cup of milk, 1/4 cup of ice, 1 frozen banana, 2 tablespoons of peanut butter, and 2 tablespoons of hot cocoa mix. The supplies you need are a cutting board, a blender, a liquid measuring cup, 1 tablespoon, a spoon, a butter knife, and a drinking glass. Okay, great. My hands are clean and your hands are clean. We've gathered our ingredients and supplies, so let's get started making our peanut butter cup smoothie. So we're actually gonna make this in our blender today, so you wanna make sure you have your blender, and I'm gonna grab mine and take the top off. This is kind of what mine looks like. Now yours may look something like this, which is fine. Mine's just a little bit different. So you'll take your top off and set it right in front of you, because that's where we're gonna start measuring things, and we put everything in here and then we blend it into our smoothie. So your blender's in front of you, and now you wanna grab your milk. We need 1/4 cup of milk, so I'm gonna grab my liquid measuring cup and my milk. Now I'm using almond milk. You can use regular milk, soy milk, just some type of liquid. In this one, milk's gonna taste better, so whatever type of milk you use. And we need 1/4 cup that we're gonna pour right into our blender. So let's measure that to the 1/4 line of our liquid measuring cup. Okay, and then you can set your milk to the side because you are done with that. And then just pour it right into your blender container. We're gonna need this to measure some ice, so I'm just gonna put it to the side. And now we're gonna do our hot cocoa mix. So it kind of sounds interesting having hot cocoa mix in a smoothie, but this is what gives it the chocolate flavor, and mixed with the peanut butter where it ends up tasting like a peanut butter cup. So grab your hot cocoa mix. If yours is still in a little packet, just rip the top off. Mine's in a little bowl so you can see it a little bit better. And your 1 tablespoon. So it's the one that says 1 TBSP, it's the bigger one. And we need to measure 2 tablespoons right into our container here. So do 1 scoop, in it goes, and another scoop. 2 tablespoons of hot cocoa mix. You can set, if you have any left over, you can set it aside. We're done with that. Keep this kind of close to you. We're gonna use it in a second. Now the next thing we need is our frozen banana. If you don't have a frozen banana, basically you can just take a regular banana and pop it in the freezer for about an hour to get it frozen. It just helps with the consistency of our smoothie. So we need a frozen banana for this smoothie snack, and we need to be able to cut it in half. So how I'm gonna do that is I'm actually going to run this under hot water. So just gonna run it right over the peel under hot water for about 30 seconds. That way we can then cut it in half and pop it into our blender container. So 30 seconds, hot water, and then we'll talk about the next step. All right, friends, so I ran my banana under hot water for about 30 seconds. It just loosens up the peel a little bit so that we can cut it in half and pop it in our blender. So grab your knife. I'm just gonna use a butter knife because it's safer and it can cut through the banana. So take your butter knife and we're gonna cut our banana in half the best you can. And if it's too hard to cut, you can just run it under water for a little bit longer, but 30 seconds was a good amount to be able to cut it in half. And now you can kind of just take it and squeeze the end of the peel, and then it should just like pop right into your blender. Just kind of push the top, and then it pops kind of right in. At this point, I'm just gonna take my spoon that we have, and I'm going to kind of just push it down. Just kind of helps it blend up a little bit better. So kind of just We're gonna hope to get everything underneath some liquid. We're gonna add ice in a few seconds, but just kind of mix it a little bit up. All right, that works for now. Next step is our peanut butter. So this is again what makes it have that peanut butter cup flavor. You've got the hot chocolate from the cocoa mix, and then you have some peanut butter. We need 2 tablespoons of peanut butter into our smoothie. So grab your tablespoon again, 1 TBSP. It's the same one that we used for our hot cocoa mix. And we're gonna measure out 2 scoops of peanut butter right into our blender. Just kind of tap it off. If yours is sticking, you can just grab your spoon that we just used and you kind of scrape it out. And then another tablespoon right inside. Okay, and then we're done with our tablespoon and our peanut butter, so you can set that to the side. And now we need 1/4 cup of ice. This is kind of gonna give it that smoothie consistency. So grab some ice or your liquid measuring cup if you need to go measure it. I have my ice right here, but you're gonna do just about 1/4 cup. So I'm just gonna kind of scoop some in here. It's the same measuring cup we used for our milk. And you just wanna get it to about 1/4 cup. So if you get up a little bit more, it's okay. Once we blend it, if the consistency is a little bit off and it needs to be a little bit thinner, we can always work with it. Trial and error in the kitchen. So once you have your 1/4 cup of ice, just go ahead and set your other ice aside. And I'm going to pour this right into my smoothie mixture, right on top. All right, so we have our milk, our hot cocoa mix, a banana, 2 tablespoons of peanut butter, and then 1/4 cup of ice. And that is all of the ingredients for our smoothie recipe. Now you're just gonna wanna put your lid on for your blender. Okay, I'm gonna move this out of the way a little bit. And you're gonna need to plug your blender in if it's not, so that's what I'm gonna do right now. I'm gonna plug my blender in. And we need to blend this for about 30 seconds. Everybody's blender is a little bit different, so you just kind of want to make sure as you're watching it that all the ingredients are getting blended up. And at the end of 30 seconds, we'll check it, and if it's still a little bit lumpy, we can always blend it a little bit more. Cooking in the kitchen can be a little bit of trial and error, so no worries if it's not perfect when we were done the first time. I'm gonna shake mine up a little bit just to kind of get some of the ingredients towards my blades at the bottom. And I do want to mention, if your blender has a blade inside that just kind of stays inside, just be very careful when you're adding your ingredients. You never want to touch the blade because it's very sharp. It needs to be sharp to blend all her stuff up. So I'm going to blend this for 30 seconds and then we'll check it, see if it's ready to pour into our glass. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so mine just blended for 30 seconds. My timer went off, so I'm going to actually check and see if everything's been blended together. Sometimes with that frozen banana, it can get a little stuck so I'm just gonna take my lid off carefully and grab my spoon and just kind of stir it a little bit and see if there's any big chunks. If there is, I'm gonna blend it for a little bit more, but let's check it and see what happened inside. All right, so I'm gonna take this over here. Let me give it a stir. Okay, so my banana, there's still a couple little chunks. So what I'm gonna do is put my lid back on, set this over here, and I'm just gonna blend it for probably like another 10 seconds. I'm just gonna count this time and try to get that banana fully blended, and then we'll check it again. Okay, shake, shake, shake. All right, let's give it 10 more seconds. All right, so that was about 10 more seconds. It kind of sounds like it might be ready. So I'm gonna move this away. Take your lid off and you can kind of just put that off to the side because we should be done now. Okay. So So this is definitely like a smoothie that you could have for breakfast because it does have peanut butter in it and it has a banana, but it also kind of has like a consistency of like a shake or like a milkshake. So maybe you decide to add a scoop of ice cream in your glass before you pour it in. There's a couple different options you could do with this because it is like more of a sweet smoothie. But hey, why not? You could have it for breakfast because it's got a banana in it, it's got peanut butter. It's gonna give you some energy and keep you full. But this looks perfect. So what I'm gonna do now is just grab my drinking glass here and I'm gonna use my spoon. If your blender has a little spout to pour, you might not need your spoon, but I'm just gonna kind of guide it in here. And like I said, maybe if you decide to have this as a dessert, you do add like a scoop of ice cream to make it more of like a milkshake. But I can tell you I've made this a couple times and it tastes just like a peanut butter cup and it's really good. So whether you have it for breakfast, maybe an afternoon snack, or like an after dinner dessert, I do hope you try and make it because this is it. This is our peanut butter cup smoothie. But when you do make it, let me know how it goes. As I always say, leave me a comment. Let me know if you have any questions. I love getting to hear from you. You can even send me a picture of your peanut butter cup smoothie, how it turned out, and maybe we'll get to share it on next week's episode. Now, speaking of next week, on next week's episode, which is episode 26, we are learning how to make homemade mozzarella sticks. With just a few ingredients, a few steps, and a few minutes in our oven, we can learn to make mozzarella sticks right at home. Now, in order to cook along and make those homemade mozzarella sticks, these are the ingredients that you'll need to have in your kitchen for next week. 2 string cheese, 1 egg, half a cup of breadcrumbs, 1 tablespoon of flour, a pinch of salt and pepper, and 1/4 teaspoon of Italian seasonings, which is optional. Well, friends, our time together today is almost over. I do hope you've enjoyed learning how to make this peanut butter cup smoothie. I know I had fun and I already can't wait to cook together again next time. But before you say goodbye to this episode, make sure to click subscribe. If you haven't already, you just have to click the little picture of me in the corner. That way you don't miss next week's episode. It'll be out on Friday, and I'll see you then. Bye, friends.